Hello everyone and welcome to this episode of EspaceNews with me, Christophe Paget. This week I shall bring up the latest news about AXIOM Space and its space station, JAXA update on his moon lander SLIM, and some Starbase updates. I wanted to join our colleagues across the space industry in paying our respect to those who perished in the advancement of spaceflight and review the progress made by EXPACE on his reusable rocket. I will finally conclude this episode with the launches of the week. Let's kick off this episode with AXIOM video showing their progress and their ambition to make their commercial space station a replacement for the ISS. You can see a lot of hardware being built, mainly for the first space station module called AXIOM H1 or HAB1. You can see the size of that beast, and the internal diameter is that of a typical adult, but yet unknown. What we do know is his outer diameter is 4.6 meter and is planned to be launched in 2026 by SpaceX, Falcon Heavy or similar. One of the main attractions is that massive cupola that you see on your screen, to have such a panoramic view of the entire Earth, a better viewpoint than that of the ISS. AXIOM contracted the support of Thales Alenia Space to construct large parts, as you can see on your screen. The space module is gradually taking shape and real hardware is now visible. So how ground is the look of that space station? Unbelievable. The future occupants will certainly enjoy every moment of it. If you watched my previous episodes, you are aware that the SLIM lander from JAXA has soft landed on the moon on 19th of January, but on his nose and with his solar panels facing away from the sunlight. After over a week, communication with SLIM was re-established successfully and operations resumed. Science observations have restarted with the multi-band camera, and JAXA obtained the first light for the 10-band observation. This figure shows the toy poodle observed in the multi-band observation. Now, why is this picture worth showing? Because Japan is the fifth nation to soft land on the moon, a very difficult task to master, and more importantly, the moon night is soon to arrive, which will last 14 days, where temperatures will be so cold that the lander is unlikely to survive it, as the hardware was not designed for such conditions, like Chandrayaan-3 from ISRO was too. So as much data can be gathered now, it will make the trip worthwhile for the scientific community. Let's have a Starbase update now. The LR11000 crane is being dismantled, so not much will happen on the launch site so far. I would have thought SpaceX would have started working on the Mechazilla Tower number 2 at the launch site, but it seems that it's not in the calendar yet. The booster number 13 methane tank, the upper tank, is being assembled and likely to have completed, judging the pictures. The launch mount continues being tested and even repainted. A new door mechanism for the mega bay is being tested, so we are going to get less and less visibility of what is going on in Starbase very soon, so do enjoy the views now whilst it lasts. The Star Factory expansion is progressing, where the newly erected section is getting its roof. What a beast when you compare the building size with that of that human being on his roof. Hopefully you can see it. Now SpaceX is getting lazy with the addition of prefabricated concrete walls to protect the tank farm. Now, what you see here is the start of the launch tower number 2 parts being pre-assembled at the Star Factory. The roof of the new mega bay is nearing completion. As expected, the hostage ring is being reinstalled onto booster number 10, readying for his flight test this month. Finally, Starbase is not exempt from meteor showers, as you can see on the footage from NSF. This week, the space community is remembering those who perished for the progress of spaceflight, those space heroes across the world. EXPACE, subsidiary of CASIC, has completed this week a brief 22-second hop test of their Kaizu rocket, reusable and running on methane oxygen. Now, the prototype stage is apparently hanging from a crane for safety and has been going up for a short hop so far, demonstrating his ability to maneuver the craft with a single gimbaling engine. So far so good, EXPACE mastered that first hop. Additionally, they have tested their engine for long duration runs up to 200 seconds. Now, more to come from that company in the coming month. Stay tuned to this channel for more. January 28th, the Iranian Space Agency has sent a CMORPH rocket to low Earth orbit at a minimum altitude of 450 km or 280,000 miles out of his Semnan Space Center in Iran with the satellites Mahada, Kayhan-2 and Hatef-1 on board. Mahada is a small satellite testing new satellite subsystems and to monitor the accuracy of multiple payload deployment from the CMOR launch vehicle, whilst Kayhan-2 is a CubeSat by Iran Electronic Industries to test satellite altitude control systems, and Hatef-1 is a CubeSat also by Iran Electronic Industries with a narrowband internet communication payload. January 29th, SpaceX launched 2 Falcon 9 less than 4 hours apart, with a total of 45 Starlink satellites V2 Mini on board, to a typical circular low Earth orbit for his mission group 638 and 712 out of the Space Launch Complex's 39A at Kennedy Space Center in Florida and 4E at Vandenberg Space Force Base in California, respectively. The first booster has flown for his 18th time and landed on a Shortfall of Gravitas drone ship, whilst the second booster flew for his 9th times and landed on the drone ship Of Course I Still Love You in the Pacific Ocean. January 30th, another SpaceX Falcon 9 launch, but this time in replacement of a Northrop Grumman Antares rocket, which has been discontinued due to his engines made by Russian and Ukrainian companies, which will no longer be used due to continuing war and current embargo. The plan is for Firefly to design the Antares' replacement, but in the meantime, Northrop Grumman will use SpaceX's Falcon 9 to honor NASA's contract with his Cygnus module for his mission CRS-2 NG-20, bringing 3.7 metric tons or 8.2 thousand pounds of resupplies to the ISS. Now, the first stage has reflown for his 10th times and landed back to site, landing zone number 1. Fun fact, SpaceX has created a custom-designed, built-in 5 feet by 4 feet or 1.5 meter to 1 by 1.2 meter door in his fairing to support late cargo loads onto Cygnus by a mobile clean room, as you can see on your screen. It's quite an undertaking. Cygnus safely arrived at the ISS on Thursday, February the 1st. January 31st, Rocket Lab launched an Electron rocket from his Launch Complex 1B in the Maya Peninsula in New Zealand for his mission 4 of a kind. The payload was 4 low Earth multi-use receiver satellites, 4 kilograms or just under 9 pounds each, from Spire Global on behalf of North Star to a sun-synchronous orbit at an altitude of 530 km or 330 miles and 1,000 miles and 97-degree inclination. The satellites will provide data on space object detection, tracking, orbit determination, collision avoidance, navigation, and proximity alerts. The first stage was recovered by Rocket Lab naval ship, as you could see on your picture. We are reaching the end of this episode. I leave you with this latest picture of Pluto. The original picture was taken by the robotic New Horizons spacecraft speeding past Pluto in 2015, but at the time, the picture was not adjusted to what the human eyes would see, so this picture is the highest resolution true color image of Pluto ever taken, as if you were there. Now, visible in the image is the heart-shaped Tobar region with the unexpectedly smooth Sputnik Planitia made of frozen nitrogen filling his west lobe. Now, this dwarf planet has a surprisingly complex surface composed of many regions having perceptibly different shades. Overall, Pluto is mostly brown, with much of this muted color originating from a small amount of surface methane energized by ultraviolet light from the sun. Now, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great week and see you at the next episode. Goodbye.